What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the OG family. Make sure y'all smash that like button, subscribe to my channel only if you want to. But look, my beautiful people, hopefully y'all having a good day. I know I'm having an amazing day. If you're not, things will get better. You're not in this by yourself. But look, man, we got this when keeping exotic pets go wrong video. You feel me? Look, let me know if y'all own any exotic pets. And I'm not talking about fish and all the other stuff, man. I'm talking about something crazy. You know, you got a lion, you got you a tiger, you got you a bear. I don't own any of those things because I don't want those problems in my life. You feel me? But look, let's get into this video right here without further ado.
Number 10, Unnamed Czech Filmmaker. In 2014, the member of a film crew was attacked by a pet lion in the Czech Republic while shooting a documentary at the owner's home. 53-year-old Parsek was living with two adult lions, Alex and MICHAL, which he'd raised since they were cubs. Parsek received constant complaints from his neighbors, who described the felines as killers. Nevertheless, he and his family maintained they weren't aggressive. Alex and MICHAL were allowed to roam freely around the house, and Parsek would often join them in their rough and tumble antics. As the production crew arrived at their home in Stupava, MICHAL was wandering around the living room. Suddenly, she pounced on the back of a filmmaker and sank her claws into his flesh. The owners were on standby and, after a brief struggle, managed to wrestle her away. The filmmaker sustained minor flesh wounds. Even though it would have taken mere seconds for MICHAL to inflict critical injuries, Parsek insisted that she was only playing. Number 9.
Ain't no damn playing. What the hell are they talking about? Like, bruh, you talking about a lion, bruh. Like, ain't no playing, bruh. You don't, nigga, what? I don't get it. And then the neighbors, I feel them though. See, I'm that neighbor that's gonna mind my damn business. But if you got a goddamn whole lion at your crib, bro, walking around freely, I ain't with it. I ain't with it. I'm telling on your ass, look, I'm a good neighbor. Like State Farm. You feel me? But I don't rock with this. Tell me how y'all feel about that. Would y'all feel comfortable going outside, bro?
Austin Hatfield.
Hell no. Absolutely not.
Florida teenager Austin Hatfield found a cottonmouth near his Wimorma home in 2014 and decided that it would be his new pet. Even though the snake possessed a deadly venomous bite, 18-year-old Hatfield kept it in a pillowcase in his room.
Wow.
According to his best friend, Jason Belcher, the teenager would kiss the snake on its head and mouth, completely disregarding the dangers to which he was exposing himself. Cottonmouths are known to be somewhat skittish in nature, but will readily defend themselves if they feel threatened. On a Saturday night, the snake slithered out of the pillowcase, across Hatfield's stomach, and off the bed. As the teen tried to recapture it, he was bitten. Belcher was in the kitchen when Hatfield walked in and asked to be taken to the hospital immediately. He was in critical condition on arrival, but was treated with antivenom and eventually stabilized.
Hell no!
It was illegal for Hatfield to have the cottonmouth at his home, since keeping venomous snakes require special permits. Number 8.
Hey, white people, look, stop doing that shit. Stop taking dangerous animals and put them in. Bro, he put them in a pillowcase, bro. Look, man, I love that y'all be out here and messing with the nature and stuff because most of us won't. You feel me? That's why I think it's good for all of us to just cohabitate in peace, man, because we're all interested in our own ways. But y'all on these damn animals, bro, that's dangerous, bro. What about that was okay, bro? Putting a snake in a pillowcase. Y'all let me know, man.
8. Vladimir. In 2015, a 21-year-old Russian man identified by his first name as Vladimir was killed by the king cobra he'd kept as a pet. The incident took place at the man's apartment in the city of Tolyatti. It was there that, aside from the cobra, Vladimir also kept a green mamba and a red spitting cobra. His social media featured numerous pictures of him and his venomous pets. His girlfriend, Anna, claimed that he'd like to play with the snakes and wasn't afraid of them. She was in the apartment when Vladimir was bitten by the cobra. The animal had reportedly attacked him as he was trying to feed it. Anna immediately called an ambulance, but there was nothing more that the paramedics could do for him when they arrived at the residence. Within minutes of the bite, Vladimir had passed away in Anna's arms. Number 7. MICHAL PRASEK.
Crazy.
33-year-old MICHAL PRASEK kept 2 lions, a male and a female, in the back of his home in the village of Zdekov, Czech Republic. He didn't have a license for the animals, which he'd been breeding illegally and housing in cages of his own design. In spite of multiple fines and concerns expressed by local residents, PRASEK refused to relocate his exotic pets or to anyone representing local authorities onto his property. They were at an impasse because there was no evidence of animal cruelty, and keeping the lions wasn't outright illegal due to a lack of alternative facilities in the country. PRASEK made headlines in 2018 when he was out walking his lioness on a leash.
Wow.
And a cyclist crashed into it. The cyclist suffered some scratches that required treatment, and local authorities at the time deemed it a traffic accident.
You can't make this shit up, y'all. He was riding his bike and crashed into a big-ass lion. Where does this happen at, bro? See, that's why I stay in the house. I don't be messing with nobody. Just want to mind my business, bro. That shit crazy.
In 2019, PRASEK's father found him in the pen of his 9-year-old male lion. He'd been fatally mauled, and the pen was reportedly locked from the inside.
Wow.
Police were called to the scene and shot both lions, an action they deemed had been absolutely necessary in order for them to retrieve PRASEK's body. A local news outlet reported that the lioness was pregnant at the time. Number 6, Dean Armstrong.
Crazy. That ain't fair, bro.
In August of 2012, a man from Cambridge, England, nearly died after he was stung by his pet scorpion. Dean Armstrong had grown up surrounded by exotic animals, as his father had owned a zoo in the 1960s. Since his late teens, Armstrong had started his own collection of reptiles and arachnids. He was in his early 40s when he got Sue the scorpion from a local pet shop. The owners had had trouble selling her because she only had one pincer, which meant that she struggled to hold food. Armstrong was trying to feed her a cricket when Sue whipped her tail over. The man had been stung or bitten by his pets numerous times, but remembered at that moment feeling fear for the first time. Within a minute of being stung, Armstrong collapsed. Fortunately, he was almost immediately discovered by his cleaner, who called the emergency services. He was rushed to Whipps Cross Hospital in East London, where he received a blood transfusion meant to flush the venom out of his system. When he woke up, he was paralyzed on the right side of his body and he couldn't speak. Armstrong was relieved about an hour later when the effect had passed, not knowing that it was only the beginning of his ordeal.
What?
The venom had severely damaged his pancreas, and weeks later, he was in surgery to have the organ drained of the toxins. Another year passed before he suffered further complications from the initial sting, when a cyst broke in his stomach and he started vomiting blood. Armstrong underwent life-saving surgery. When he came to, doctors told him that they'd removed his stomach, gallbladder, half his pancreas, and some intestines. Even though he'd have to carry a colostomy bag around for the rest of his life, Armstrong felt fortunate to have survived. Number 5.
That shit ain't worth it if you ask me, you know. Like, bro, scorpions, absolutely not, bro. I mean, out here in this area where I'm at, we have scorpion problems out here. And if you get stung by one of them, it's going to, like, this is some of the most poisonous ones out here, but it'll make you feel anxious and stuff like that. You really don't have to get any medical treatment unless you're, like, a little elderly or a child, you know. And that's when you want to go to the hospital. But I got stung by one and I felt anxious, like, heart was beating and stuff, but it wasn't nothing like this. That's crazy, bro. That's extreme. Which one? I mean, I'd rather just go ahead and go, bro. I don't want to carry around no doodle bag for the rest of my life, because that's what that colostomy bag. I don't want to carry a doodle bag, bro.
Sharon Miller. In the late 1990s, Sharon Miller purchased a tarantula that her 8-year-old daughter had wanted from a Lake Forest pet shop in California. Miller knew that it could bite, but that the venom, barring a severe allergic reaction, generally had very low toxicity towards humans. However, she was completely unaware of a second and arguably more effective defensive response. The woman reached into the spider's cage to clean it, but suddenly felt discomfort in her eyes. As she rubbed them, they became red and extremely painful.
That's gross.
She compared the sensation to having burning grains of sand in her eyes. What the pet store had reportedly failed to tell her was that when faced with larger attackers, tarantulas will flick their hind legs forward and fling hairs from their abdomen into the air. The arachnids can be quite precise in directing their attack. Their hairs aren't soft, but more like minuscule barbs that are meant to affect their target's sight.
That's
Miller
crazy.
was left with blurred vision after several of the tarantula's hairs got lodged in her right eye. She subsequently sued the pet shop for medical expenses and emotional distress, arguing that they'd failed to warn her about the dangers of owning the exotic pet. Number 4.
That's something that I did not know that. I did not know they can flick hairs. That just makes it even worse, bro. All my spider owners out there, y'all got tarantulas. How is it owning a tarantula? I know my grandfather used to have one. The tarantula got so big, used to be on his shoulder and stuff, and he used to walk around with it. And somebody seen the tarantula and got scared and screamed, and the tarantula got scared and jumped off his shoulder. The tarantula was so big that it smacked the ground and it exploded. Crazy, right? Y'all wasn't expecting that story. It's crazy.
Norman Buwalda. In 2010, Norman Buwalda, chairman of the Canadian Exotic Animal Owners Association, was fatally mauled by a massive tiger he'd kept at his property in Southwold, Ontario. Nobody witnessed the attack, which claimed 66-year-old Buwalda's life. A family member who'd found his mangled remains was able to lock the 650-pound Siberian male in a separate portion of the cage. When officers arrived at the scene, it was visibly agitated, pacing back and forth in its enclosure. It hadn't been the first attack to occur on Buwalda's property.
Absolutely
A few
not.
years prior, in 2004, a person from Toronto suffered severe head and neck injuries after being mauled by one of his tigers. They survived and recovered with treatment. Southwold's deputy mayor told a media outlet that the township had lost the case that would have forced Buwalda to get rid of his exotic pets.
Crazy.
In a dark, ironic twist, one of the animals that he'd fought so hard to keep ultimately ended his life. The fate of the tiger remains unclear. Number 3. Daniel Brandon. On August the 25th of 2017, Englishman Daniel Brandon was killed by his pet African rock python
How?
at his family's home near Basingstoke in North Hampshire. The 31-year-old had owned the 8-foot serpent, named Tiny, since she was small enough to fit in his hand. In the wild, an African rock python will use its formidable strength to constrict antelopes, monkeys, and even small crocodiles, which it then devours whole. Brandon kept several other snakes and was never scared of Tiny, according to his mother. However, she reported that the snake would sometimes lash out at her when she entered the room. On the night of Brandon's death, the woman remembered a thud coming from his room, but thought that he'd knocked something over or dropped a piece of fitness equipment. She later found him unresponsive and Tiny, coiled under a cabinet. A coroner ruled without doubt that Brandon had died from asphyxiation following contact with the python.
That's crazy.
Today's topic was
Bro, you let your snake do you like that? And look, that wasn't even a big snake, though. You feel me? Damn, boy. Hey, man, if you own the python, bro, you got to lift some weights. You got to lift some weights, man.
requested by fawn and in case of rain.
I ain't trying to be insensitive, but you got to lift some weights, man. You got to
subscribe
get your
and let us
muscle
know in the
up.
comments section below. Number 2,
Snake doing me
SOICHIRO
like that.
MORI. In 2018, a Japanese man was mauled to death by the Asian black bear he'd been hired to care for. 56-year-old SOICHIRO MORI had gone to the residence located northeast of Tokyo.
It's an ugly ass
It was
bear right there.
that the bear's owner, an unnamed 70-year-old man, was keeping it in an enclosure. Based on the reports of local authorities, he had the necessary permits for the bear, which stood at 4 foot 2 inches and weighed an estimated 110 pounds. Mori, who was the animal's caretaker, had entered the cage, but before long, a neighbor heard him screaming. The neighbor went to the house and found Mori severely mauled in the animal's enclosure. He was taken to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Number 1, Paul Mandi.
Hey, them bears, man, they can take you out with one swipe, though. Take you out with one swipe, man. Like, that's why you know what I'm saying? You can love nature and stuff like that, but you can't just be out here, man, thinking that you know everything about these animals. I don't care how long you've been around them, man. Sometimes they can just be unpredictable. And, I mean, look, man, if it's your time, it's your time, man. If y'all want to keep playing with these animals like that, I think these animals, these type of animals need to be in their habitats. They don't need to be taken in by us like dogs and stuff. A lot of them, they can't survive on their own out here in the real world without us. But these lions, tigers, and bears, that shit gotta stop. You know? Or, I mean, it's only a matter of time before something like this happens.
McDonald. In 2019, an Australian couple was brutally attacked by a deer that kept at their farm in Moihu, northeast Victoria. 47-year-old Paul McDonald was feeding the wapiti, a cross between a red deer and an elk, when it unexpectedly lunged at him. His wife, 45-year-old Mandy, intervened, but sustained devastating injuries to her leg and upper body. Their teenage son witnessed the incident and ran to get help. Police officers arrived at the scene and fatally shot the deer. Mandy survived, but Paul had been gored to death. The woman was flown to the Alfred Hospital in critical condition, and according to updates on her case, she required over a dozen surgeries on a long road to recovery. In the aftermath of the attack, wildlife authorities warned that male deer, even though they may seem docile the rest of the year, become aggressive come mating season. Thanks for watching.
Oh, so he just wanted to get his rocks off, and, you know, they was, you know, fucking with him. Okay. But that shit crazy, though, man. Like I said, man, leave these wild animals alone, man. Let them stay in their habitats. We do our thing, let them do their thing. You know, like, you feel me? Like, but look, let me know if y'all own any wild animals, I mean, exotic animals, and reasons why. And do you feel safe and secure around those animals? You know, just for educational purposes and just information, you know? I'm just very interested in that because I don't get it, but not to mean that I'm the one that with all the information and I say what goes. It's not about that. I just wonder, like, what's going on in your mind that makes you think that you're safe around these type of animals? And then let me know what pet you own. If you don't own any, just let me know what pet you own and why you own that type of pet and why is it beneficial to you. But look, man, I think French Bulldogs are dope, but I'll see you on the next video, man. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and subscribe to my vlog channel down below. The link is down there, man. We about to start dropping them bangers. But look, like I always say, spread love because there's too much hate in this world. Love you guys. See you in the next video. And I'm out, though. Bye.